when I was there for about half the season. So when Sam Bradford tore his ACL the second time, I had signed with the Rams. Unfortunately, I herniated 2 discs in my back the first week I was there. So I wasn't much help there, but I got to know Frank. And I got a little bit of a sense of the Signetti family and just kind of what they're all about.
You got to talk to them today. Were they similar, or what would you notice?
They're very different. Similar in the sense of, I think, how they attack football. You can tell both guys are Pittsburgh guys. You know, yeah. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, so there's something about like that Ohio PA type of chip on your shoulder, the way you attack things and approach things. So you definitely got a sense of that, but very different in other ways.
And what were your impressions of Frank specifically?
I love him. I think he's awesome. I think he's awesome for college football. I think he's had success at every level for a reason. I think he talks the talk, walks the walk. I think how he even schedules things out for his coaches and seeing the bigger picture of life and family and all those things. When I talk to some of the coaches that are on the staff, it's a great work environment. They love working for him. So you can tell why he's been successful at every level.
What is it about Indiana that's made Indiana successful this year? Why has he been able to just instant turnaround?
Well, look, the transfer portal is part of it. You bring in 13 guys from JMU, let alone you have 13 starters essentially that are transfer players. That's a piece of it. Now, he's a piece of that. Being able to bring those guys along with him and convince a guy like Curtis Rourke, hey, this is the right place for you. They are one of the best coach teams I've watched on film all year. They just don't make mistakes. They seem to do everything right. Their offensive line play has really stood out to me in particular, how that group works together. But I understand their schedule has been weak up to this point, but we also talk about other teams who get scares or have these tight games or close games where we think they should blow them out, and they are making a ton of mistakes. You don't see many mental errors. You don't see many penalties with this team. It's a all the way around very well run team.
Hey, on Nebraska, what are your thoughts on Raiola and what you've seen from Dylan Raiola as a freshman?
Special talent. I mean, I started when I was a freshman. I think people underestimate how difficult that is. He came in early, which helps. But that is a team that, you went to like the last year, the second half of the season, we really felt like what we were saying was the defense was getting better. That's a staple of Matt Rule. That's the foundation. The run game was coming along. But there just wasn't anything there in the passing game. And now that they have Dylan there, you see what he's capable of. It's just him getting that experience at this level, dealing with the different looks, the in-game adjustments you're going to make. And I think as far as the personnel, they're not going to run by you, but they got a lot of big bodies. One of the things is when they get like their 3 wide receiver sets out there, some of those guys are big. They use them for like a backside cutoff on a run play. And you're like, all right, if you're the defense, am I looking at this as 11 personnel or 12 with like almost 2 tight ends because they're so big? So that's a predicament that they put you in because of the size of some of those receivers.
Brady, you're accustomed to big-time college football from your playing days. What does it mean to college football to have a program like in Indiana be able to jump up and join the party with the big boys?
It's what makes college football special. It's what makes it, to me, in my opinion, more fun than the NFL, is you get a story like a program like Indiana that's been down, and you got a coach that breathes life into it, and it becomes this thing that no one expected, no one saw coming. I look at TCU a few years back when they made their national championship run, got there, didn't win it, but that was an incredible season to watch. That school that no one had expected, exceeded everyone's expectations, and went on this crazy run. And so I say this about all types of teams that are in this conversation, whether it was BYU where we were last week or IU this week. Why not them? Why can't they be that team that cracks into the college football playoff and makes a run?
How far can you think this defense take Nebraska? I mean, what are your impressions of Nebraska?
Can take Nebraska?
Yeah.
I think it's really the reason why they've been able to, hang around and stay in games, win games, right, and only have 1 loss right now. If they're able to win, it's going to be in large part due to them stopping the ground attack, which they've done a good job of this year, obviously, from IU, getting pressure on Curtis Rourke, forcing him to make some turnovers or commit turnovers, which it's seldom this team does. So their defense will be the reason why Nebraska wins if they win tomorrow.
And Rourke specifically, what are your impressions of him? Obviously, the opposite end of the experience spectrum is Raiola.
Yeah, look, he ran a different system at Ohio University. More spread option involved in that. He's really developed into a better pocket passer. And the thing that impresses me the most in college, when you break down a guy's tape and you look at a lot of their passing charts or passing maps, you see a lot of throws that are like 5 yards to the line of scrimmage or behind, and then throws downfield, in particular to the outside, like over 20 yards. But that's like it. You don't see any of those intermediate throws. And that's what you really have to be able to do at the next level. And I think the teams that tend to be able to stay on the field, move the ball, put up a lot of points, finish drives, are the ones where you've got a quarterback when it's 10 to 20 yards downfield, he is on point, and he's throwing dots, throwing lasers, layering throws. Curtis can do that. That's something that I didn't see quite as much at Ohio University. You see this year what he's asked to do. Now, Can he do it versus Nebraska? Can he do it versus Ohio State later this year? Those are the big challenges, to see if he can do it versus those defenses.
Is there anything in particular that Matt Rule's doing with this program and building the program that stands out to you that you notice?
Yeah, I don't think he was. I think he's been patient about it. I think he's trying to build it the right way. I think he understood when he first got there. Obviously, there's lofty expectations, but they had to find the right quarterback, the right way of going about handling the portal. You bring in Jeff Sims. That was kind of your guy that you went in. Probably paid a decent amount to come in and be the guy. Didn't quite work out. I think most coaches and a lot of them are starting to find out, like, hey, we probably want to build through recruitment in high school, and we probably want to have that guy be the guy and then build in that pipeline. You want to supplement in with some of the transfer portal, but it's hard to make it your entire team. Now, like, IU's entirely different because that head coach is coming from that school. Right. So he knows exactly what he's bringing in. On top of that, he's trying to build a culture there. So it's a little different for Matt Rule. He's coming from the pro level. So I think he's been patient. He's done it the right way, and you're starting to see the fruits of the labor start to showcase themselves.
There's been a lot of
after the top three in the Big Ten. How wide open is the Big Ten right now? Maybe if there is a fourth playoff team in this league at this point.
Wide open. I mean, I think you look at too how some of these teams match up. Illinois, for example. They're a team that's Luke Altmaier's provided a different element, different dimension to that team. They're a great defensive team. Could run the football. Had maybe a playmaker or two. Now it's a team you got to worry about everyone because the way he spits the football around. So it doesn't matter who you're talking about right now. The Big Ten. Every single team's got their different strengths and obviously weaknesses, but they kind of force you to play a different style of ball, and I think Southern Cal's learning that right now. Like, you go on the road to play Minnesota, how they like to play and finish off games, and you come back and you think, all right, we're at home playing Penn State. Similar challenges, the physicality of it, but also different ways they go about making those plays and creating big plays for themselves.
Like you mentioned, Indiana's one of the teams that brought in a lot of transfers, especially with the coaching change, but the fact that the majority of these guys came from the mid-level, is that still not more amazing and what has been able to happen at Indiana?
Well, look, there's a lot of good players out there in college football. Why they end up where they end up is for different reasons. It could be for proximity to home or education. It could be a bunch of things. Or maybe a girlfriend. I don't know. But, in this case, when you know the head coach, where he's going, and you understand the culture he's trying to build, you can be a part of that. And especially when you talk about a class of guys that at JMU was a close class. That speaks kind of volumes to what the coach means to them. I wouldn't always tell kids to make your decision based on the coach because the coach could always leave or be somewhere else. But in this case, obviously, they've made the decision, at least for this year, to come to IU in part because of Coach Cignetti.
Do you miss the opportunity to play during the NIL days?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, I'm happy that this generation of players is able to capitalize on it. It's obviously something that's been a long time coming. You can't control when you're born or what area you played in. I felt very blessed and fortunate just to be able to have a scholarship to go to Notre Dame, and worked a $7 an hour job on my off day just to have a little extra gas money and whatnot. So times have changed for sure, but I hope they clean up the transfer portal. That's what I hope they clean up, in the sense of not allowing it, but having one window, not two. I think that's one of the biggest issues with college football right now.
Thank you.